that was really loud. So sorry about that. All right, so we've been talking about all of the things that God uses to grow our faith deeper than it was before. It's just like swimming, right? You can't just dive into the deep end right away, because you'll probably lose yourself. But you have to go to like swimming lessons and practice and build up your strength before you work your way into the deep end of the pool. And the same is true for our faith. There are certain things we can do to grow stronger and more confident in our faith so that we can go deeper. So let me ask you a question. Let me ask you, what would be different about your life if you had that kind of faith? What would change about the way you live if you had total and complete trust in the fact that God was real in tough times and good times and the everyday details of your life? What would it look like if you had faith that God was taking care of you through it all? I mean, it's like, no matter what happened, you just trusted God, right? Well, do you know someone like that? I do. Story time, folks. Sit down, kids. All right, no, but seriously, I have a really good friend named Emily. Love her. I met her about 2 years ago at my church, and we couldn't be more different, guys. I mean, she's introverted, and obviously, I'm an extreme extrovert. She loves to be like behind the scenes. She's like a designer. She creates environments. I mean, she's incredible. But I love the stage. One of the things that I really, really, really admire about Emily is her faith. Well, maybe you know someone just like that. Someone whose faith is just big and strong. And maybe you see the way they live their life and think, I wish I could have faith like that. You wanna have that kind of deep faith and trust in God, but with all that's happened in your life, it seems almost impossible. You've been through difficult things, unanswered prayers, broken friendships, disappointment at school, divorce at home, the loss of a loved one. And after all that, it's just hard to trust God in that big, deep way. Or maybe you hear all that and you think, honestly, that sounds dumb. Why would a person just blindly trust God like that? If that's you, dude, I get it. Maybe you're not even sure that you believe in God. So the idea of having such big trust in Him and centering your entire life around Him sounds silly. But if we're being honest, no matter what we think about God, a lot of us still have trust issues with Him. We struggle to know if we can really put our full faith in Him to come through. I mean, we question if we can believe that He's even real sometimes. We wonder if He's actually going to do all the good things He said He would do in the Bible. And those questions make having that kind of deep faith in God feel impossible at times. But I'm here to tell you that this kind of faith is possible. In fact, it's the kind of faith God wants you to have. He wants you to trust Him. God wants you to have a deep faith, and He's made a way to help you do just that. Story time. There's a story in the Bible that can help us see what it looks like to have this sort of trust in God. It's in the book of Matthew. You knew it, you guessed it, you knew, okay? I'm excited. All right, it's a book written by one of Jesus's closest friends about Jesus's time on earth. And this particular story is pretty cool because it's the only time in the Bible when Jesus was actually amazed by something someone else did. A lot of people were amazed by the things Jesus did on earth, but this was really the first time Jesus ever stopped and said, whoa, oh snap, okay, he said that in response to somebody else. I mean, wouldn't you love to have been that person? I'm just saying, Jesus, wow, look at me, you know? All right, well, let's see what happened. Okay, here we go. When Jesus entered Capernaum, a Roman commander came to him. He asked Jesus for help. Lord, he said, my servant lies at home and can't move. He is suffering terribly. Picture this with me. Jesus and his guys were hanging out when this Roman commander approached them. Now, back then, a Roman commander like this guy was basically the boss. He had nearly 100 men assigned to him, and they typically traveled together. And during this time in history, they were also known to be the bad guys. They were the ones who collected your money, sent you to jail, forced you to do things you didn't want to do, and were generally the kind of guys people ran from when they saw coming. So, this Roman commander came to ask Jesus for help. Most people, okay, that's scary. I got so scared, I'm sorry. So, this Roman commander came to ask Jesus for help. Most people probably assumed Jesus and his disciples would turn around and run, maybe. But here's what happened. Jesus said, "Shall I come and heal him?" The commander replied, "Lord, I am not good enough to have you come into my house, but just say the word and my servant will be healed." Instead of turning away, Jesus was all in to help this guy. He even offered to go to the commander's house and help him. And then the commander did something incredible. He told Jesus that he didn't even need him to come to his home. He knew Jesus could heal his servant right then and there. He believed that Jesus could do it. Even though the commander seemed like a bad guy, the kind of guy who didn't even think he was good enough to have Jesus in his home, he had total and complete trust that Jesus could do what he said he could do. He had deep faith. So I know you want to know what happened. When Jesus heard this, he was amazed. He said to those following him, "What I'm about to tell you is true. In Israel, I have not found anyone whose faith is so strong." Jesus was amazed at this guy's faith. He had never met anyone with such a strong, deep faith in him, and that faith, it moved Jesus. He was like, whoa! Jesus wasn't amazed by this Roman commander's obedience. He wasn't impressed by this guy's actions or accomplishments. It was his trust that amazed Jesus. It was the deep faith and confidence he had in Jesus no matter what the situation. The commander trusted Jesus with his pain and his struggles, and that kind of trust grew his faith. And that kind of trust can grow our faith too. When we trust God through our daily habits, with our hurts and our struggles and our relationships and our time, our faith in him grows because God can use our daily habits to grow our faith. Think back to what I said about swimmers earlier. If a swimmer wants to dive faster and deeper, they have to make choices each and every day to practice swimming, go to lessons, eat right, and build their strength. They have to use their daily habits to reach their goals. Let's take a look at what I mean. Just like an Olympic swimmer has to make a decision to focus each day on being a better swimmer, we can focus each of our days on deepening our faith. We can choose to let our day-to-day habits and thoughts center around God. Having deep faith doesn't happen overnight, folks. Nope. And trusting God in our day-to-day lives is where our faith begins. Trusting him through our challenges and friendships and life experiences, it is what builds our relationship with him. And trust is what takes faith deeper. That was really cool. I mean, come on, it's like the truth. And the truth is, so if God can use our daily habits to grow our faith, then the question becomes this: how do we build our trust in him by centering our daily habits around him? Well, I think for most people, our day-to-day actions aren't big, huge demonstrations of trust. Instead, they're little things that focus on what's important in our lives. God. And I think that those things fall into two categories. Number one, one-on-one time with God. Things like reading the Bible, praying, journaling, listening to worship music, or maybe thinking about the role that God plays in our lives. All those things can help deepen our relationship with him. It's during those times that we build trust and learn more about him and what we believe. And number two, time with others. Maybe it's talking to our friends about God, or going to a trusted adult with questions we have about our faith, or maybe it's connecting with people who have similar beliefs, or maybe it's talking with people who have different beliefs and different ways of viewing the world than you. At the end of the day, connecting with others can help build our confidence in trusting God each and every day. While seemingly small, having one-on-one time with God and spending time with others on a regular basis will help grow your trust in God over time. And that trust results in a deeper, more meaningful faith because God can use our daily habits to grow our faith. Okay, cool. Little recap, folks. Because over the past few weeks, we've talked about a lot of things that can help deepen our faith. Things like this: putting into action our knowledge about God and how he wants us to live. Taking a look at the people who influence us and making sure that we have someone who can help us grow in our faith. Using our gifts, time, and talents to help and serve those in need around us. Being honest with God about our feelings during tough situations and trusting that he'll use them to grow our faith and maybe even the faith of those around us. And finally, like we've said today, we can use our daily habits, those little things that we do each and every day, to build our trust in God. I think if we try to incorporate these things into our lives, we'll find that our faith will grow stronger and deeper over time. One last question for you to think about and answer. What's one thing I can do this week to help deepen my faith? Thanks, guys.